Oh, the mistake, and McBreen's clean through on goal here to win it. What a miss from Daniel McBreen.
Fucking dog shit.
Surprise, motherfuckers. We're back. Against our better judgment. There was only one way to start, and that was it. In the words of Frank Sinatra, who famously sang, I'll tell you, I can't deny it. I thought of quitting, baby, but my heart just wasn't going to buy it. I've been a puppet, a pauper, a pirate, a poet, a pawn, and a king. I've been up and down and over and out, and I know one thing, that each time I find myself flat on my face, I just pick myself up and get back in the race. That's life. That's life, motherfuckers. We're back. The finals are back. A-League Off Air is back. It's the beginning of the Johnny Farnham farewell tour. Daniel McBreen. It's been a long time, Roberto. Mate. Not long enough.
How are you, mate? No, I know. We thought there's only 2 games, so fuck it. Let's just get back in and get it done and get
this
out.
This can't be too hard.
Yeah. It's probably going to be a nice short one, straight to the point, but 2 games is a hell of a lot
We have said that
easier.
in the past, mind you.
We have. So
exactly.
Q 3-hour fucking podcast.
Exactly.
Yeah,
well,
2 games is much easier than 6.
Exactly. Hopefully, but we're not there yet. So we're going to look back at the 2 elimination finals and ahead to the grand final where Auckland will play Western United in Auckland at Go Media Stadium. You know it's coming, motherfuckers. It's coming like a runaway train. This is only going to end one way. And let this be a little preemptive warning to all you Victorians out there saying, sporting capital of the world, 3 A-League teams in the semi-finals, yada, yada, yada. Anyone that knows the first thing about football fandom knows that you do not share the successes of your neighbours. Mm-hmm. No one from Melbourne Victory should be going, Victoria's great. Here we are. We've got 3 teams in that Western United are going to be in the final, you fuckers. How are you going to feel about that? Not so good all of a sudden. The only people that should be cheering for Victoria in the next 3 weeks live in Wellington. Okay?
Correct.
That is the bottom line. We've just got to get, because I see it coming. I can see it coming. That's not football, people. Macca, before we start, should we have a little word about Sydney FC, or we save that for the final drunken wash-up of this godforsaken season?
No, they were fucking shit, weren't they? Fuck me. You only had to get 1 point from 2 games at the end, let alone the other fucking 25 before that.
Hell.
Well, they probably, let's say, from where everyone thought they would be, they're the most underperforming team, obviously, in the whole league. Perth, we knew they'd be down the bottom. Brisbane, I think most people thought they'd be down the bottom. The others, Wellington, they dropped away. But Sydney, I saw someone on Twitter say, start of the season, we want to win everything. Then they didn't win the Australia Cup. Then it's, we want to win domestically and intercontinental. Then they got knocked out of the Intercontinental. We want to go all the way in the league. And then, fuck, now it's just a transition season. Now, if this is a transition season, what the fuck is the team going to look like next year? Jesus Christ. But, look, underwhelming, weren't they?
Well, they did avoid the Oz Cup playoffs, didn't they?
Well, they did. Well done. Congratulations. Fucking roll out the red carpet and get the poppers out, mate, because excitement times. Yes, Darwin. Four teams in Darwin this week. Fantastic. But they can't wait to get up. They're up there now in the heat, looking to finish their season.
I can't wait. I'm commentating tomorrow night. That's going to be fun.
I got out of it.
I got the Mariners against the Spooners. So it'll be a bit of a laugh. Anyway, let's get into it. Before we start, don't forget, keep this podcast under your hat. We already know it's the best Australian football podcast. Don't go telling anyone. It can only bring trouble for me and Macca and everyone else if people start mouthing off about all the shit that goes down here. You're here. Be happy with yourself. This is like get a little bit of introverted spirituality going, a bit like at yoga class. Just live this moment. Don't think about the future. Just be here with me and Macca now as we talk about the greatest league in the world, elimination finals. I got to find my notes. Where are we? First game, Friday night. I was there. Oh, fuck yes. Tarneit. I have a couple of things to say about Tarneit, but let's...
Before you start, for anyone who's hearing this for the first time, we've been off for about 6 to 8 weeks, I think it is it? 6 to 8 weeks where we said, no, it was getting too much, we couldn't do it, but now we're back. Robbie's got a lot of pent-up shit he needs to get off his chest. And I wish we were recording just before we started.
I haven't had my release.
Because I got a rant just before we came on air. Don't know if we're going to go that far, but...
No, probably... Well, you never know.
Get some things off your chest, Robbie. You said you've got a couple of things to say.
Okay.
Say it. I'm giving you the platform. Go. I'll have a sip of my tea.
No, let's get into the game. We've got to talk about the game. That's why we're here. I will just say, with all the visionary real estate development, futuristic imagination, creativity that I can muster, Tarneit is one fucking shithole at the moment.
I can't comment. Haven't been.
Is that... Okay, I just got to get that off there. It's the football pitch is great. It's one of the best pitches. I think it won the vote for best pitch in the A-League. That's probably easier when you only have 9 games on there in a season, which I think is, or 10, which they had this year. Nothing against the people trying to do their best down the club. Certainly nothing against the players or the coaching staff and those that have to go out and train out there every day. From the airport, from the centre of town, wherever you're trying to get to Tarneit, it is interminable. It takes way too long. And then, and I hate to say this because, hopefully it will all come good at some point down the line. Is that really what a football club is meant to be? They're selling the dream of way down the line? Or is the football club, are we going to think for all the people that have lived Western United, what were there? Just over 3,000 people there at the final. We were told it holds 5,000. This is not true. It is maybe 3,600. They couldn't fill it for a final. It was a cold night, but it was clear the facilities are not up to it. We were commentating basically on the same level as the people sitting in the grandstand, trying to commentate, looking in between heads to see who was there. Couldn't see either bench.
And we all know, Robbie, we all know you hate to be amongst the people. You like to be up, raised above them where you so rightly believe you should be.
You know what I would prefer? I would have preferred to be in with the fucking people where I could see the ground instead of behind the people.
Well, you did send me a photo showing that when you looked left down to the corner, you pretty much couldn't see what was happening. So we all know it's designed to be a training venue and not a match venue. But if you're going to play matches out of there, it's got to be the standard required, let's be honest. And the photo you sent me
exactly. And no, it's not good enough to have a finals broadcast out of. And there is only one road in and out of that place. And I got thinking about that. If there was any problem that happened out there in a place, and this is why you can't have a Melbourne derby there, because you could have a medical emergency, you could have anything. There's only one road in to this place. If that road gets blocked, if there's anything happens, no one is getting in and out of this place. It's not structurally, infrastructurally ready for this kind of thing. It's a training complex. Anyway, fuck it. We called it. It's been done. We got in and out. It was like fucking Mission Impossible.
But you enjoyed it.
And it was done. So, and we enjoyed it. So, Western United versus Adelaide. 3-2, it finished. Adelaide opening the scoring after 3 minutes. Luka Jovanovic, who was in for the injured Archie Goodwin, equal Golden Boot winner, missing. This was like the reprieve, and suddenly this goal inside 3 minutes, you thought, fucking hell, this is written somewhere. Planets aligning. Everything's fallen into place for Adelaide. Is this going to happen? No. No, nothing is fucking going to happen here. This is just lucky, a fluke. Noah Bodic. Macca, are you giving this first goal to Noah Bodic?
As a striker, I would love to, but nah, he's not getting it. The reverse angle from behind the goal clearly shows it's going wide until it hits Bart Breen. So as much as I'd love to give it to him, I can't. Okay,
so he is not the youngest ever hat-trick goal scorer.
No, when you said that,
football.
When you were saying those things in the call, I was thinking, Robbie, he didn't get the first one, so shut the fuck up, mate. Come on, I can have a look at the replay.
I did put a caveat. I said we were being generous and we were going to give it to him just for the sake of the stat. Anyway, he did get the next two. They were all deflected. They were all balls bouncing off everywhere and passes. I think the two passes in the lead up to the third goal, which was a nice strike from the edge of the box, were both deflected. The first one deflected into the path of Danzaki, then Danzaki's pass deflected into the path of Bodic for the goal. Despite all of this, Adelaide still barely mustered anything. And you could see they were frustrated, Macca. You could see even Pana Kikiana starting to completely lose it at the back and getting shirty, like shitty shirty as well. So that was unfortunate. Stefan Mork almost created a bit of a grandstand finish. But look, I think this was a good performance from Western United. Great work in midfield again. Bozanovsky and Thurgate are
excellent.
Are really the deal in there. They look great. And see you, Carl. See you, Isaiah. See you, Javi. It's sad way to go out, but in many respects, that's football, isn't it?
Yeah, and look, I think in the end they were surprised that they actually got there. I put out a tweet before the last Sydney game that the Adelaide boys should be together getting on the piss regardless, as a bit of a team bonding. And if Sydney got something, well, they just continue on their end of season piss up together. And if they don't, they have a few beers together, watch the game and get into it. Well, they did get together. I'm not sure if there was any beers consumed. I didn't see any in the photos unless they moved them out, which I thought was soft from the team. Bit of old school drinking and shots every time a goal was scored would have been good, but they started over the line. I think the Adelaide social team showed it best when they put a picture of Stephen Bradbury and they put Adelaide over his face and they stumbled into the finals. We sort of hoped that they potentially could give us something, but that back end, last half of the season, it was going to be difficult for them to turn things around. And credit to Western United, they were fucking awesome. Michael Ruhs, he can be sometimes like a bull in a china shop, and he's so over-aggressive at times, and he argues about shit where you're thinking, just shut the fuck up and get on with it. But fuck me, he caused some problems. He got under their skin. He's quick. He's strong. He doesn't let anything rest. He puts people under pressure. And he set the tone for the rest of the team to follow.
I tell you what, for me, he's a fucking smoky for an A-League off-air player of the season because he is a fucking cunt. And that's awesome.
He is.
I rate it.
He embraces it. And whenever someone queries him or stands up to him, he's like, fuck you, cunt. Righto, let's go. But I thought Thurgate and Bozanovsky bossed the midfield. I thought they were fantastic. At the back, they were solid again. Even though Donachie had to go off early, in comes Russell. Just as he always is.
And that is a bit of a blow.
Yes. Yeah.
Like the losing Donachie, losing your substitution window, losing, a player, having to reshuffle at the back. All of that is big to deal with.
Mm-hmm. It is. And Noah Botic, okay, his first one's deflected and goes in. It wasn't going. The second one, you got to feel a little bit for Vatuli. The second one's deflected and goes past him at the near post.
And goes,
the third one, his shot went about 3 metres inside the post. It almost hit the centre of the goal, I thought, when it hit the net. So I think his positioning was off on that one. But Botic was good. You have to give it to Johnny Aloisi and his team. They fucking play good football. And I had to get... Piney rang me yesterday. I did something for New Zealand radio and he was chatting about the finals. And I said, if I'm Steve Corica, I'm sitting there thinking, fuck, I hope Western United don't get through because they've only lost 3 games, Auckland. One of them, incredibly, was against Perth. How the fuck that happened, I don't know. The other 2 were against Western United, 4-0 and 4-2.
Yeah.
So they've obviously got the measure of them and they know how to do it. Yeah. So they'll be looking at that Melbourne City Western United game and strangely, because Melbourne City are a good team, going, fucking hell, I hope City get through. I know they've got to get past victory first, but Western United, I think they're a dark horse. Even though they finished third. Can you be a dark horse when you're third?
You have just underlined perfectly the fact that...
I picked them to come last. I fucking picked them to come last at the start of the year. Shows how good a pundit I am.
That gives me the opportunity... That just gives me the opportunity to once again remind everyone that I said Auckland would win everything, which they probably are going to do.
Well done.
I had something else I wanted to say just then about it, and it's completely gone. Oh, no, it's Michael Ruhs. I can't give it up because about 3 weeks ago I was doing a Western United game and I was going through all the stats and everything. And I wanted to check because Michael Ruhs had played something like 360 minutes in 15 games until he started the last 3. So there he's had chunks of minutes. Before that, I think he only started 1 game all season in the first 15. And he had 5 yellow cards in about 300 minutes. And like these are little bit minutes. So he's going on and he got another yellow card. And so I've just done it while we're chatting here. It's a yellow card every 70 minutes that he's picked up this season. And that's been helped largely by the fact that he's started the last 3 games and played plenty of minutes. But he is more than a bull in a china shop. He's a fucking woolly mammoth buffalo in a creche.
Yeah, he is. But he's got.
No, he's good.
He was good. 5 shots, 3 on target, caused problems. And
created half those shots himself just by fucking bouncing people out of the way as well.
Sheer fucking.
But
will.
It's not. I saw a quote from John Aloisi during the week saying, "No one ever talks about the tactics of my football team, and how everyone just says I'm a nice guy, and that here we are, Western United are here, in the semi-finals. Tactically, and you could see it in this performance. Caveat: Adelaide were shit." Like, I really think, and I was looking at the stats, Adelaide even have pretty respectable stats from the game, but they never looked like they were in the contest. And it was the press, the triggers for the press, the effectiveness. To get players like Dan Zaki playing like he's playing as well, tactically, and Macca, you've got a more astute, trained eye than I do. Who I'm just here for the stats and the emotion and the swearing. Western United, what is it that they are doing so well?
Oh, fucking hell. Now, where
just
do we
to drop
start?
you in it.
Well, I don't think that we don't talk about his tactics.
Well, because, and I'll start, well, I'll throw one thing out there. We looked at, for most of the season, thinking, he's got kids coming through. They're playing with. You've got that line. You've got Ibasuki, Thurgate, Imai. So you've got that line of, and then Sutton. So that's important. But there, they took out Imai and they put him on the right side of the defence. They took out Ibasuki. You put Ruhs up there, who, you know, for all his A-League off-air brilliance, is not your leader, technical or otherwise, or tactical on the football pitch. And they've still made it work. They've still made it work just through, and it's not just through energy, it's through organisation. They don't
100%.
concede late goals, for example. They're fucking an organised side.
Yeah, they are. But when you look through that, when you say, oh, yeah, you know, Imai goes out on the right, well, Donachie comes in. He's experienced. Botic is one of the, you know, best young strikers going around at the moment, who's been playing against a guy who scored 15 goals or something last year at Adelaide, and now has come here and they're working as a two. So it's not like we've said it all along. The balance between wherever there's a senior player, there's a younger player around them. So if you look on the left with Garuccio, Dan Zaki's there now, but we've seen Abel Wallati be there. So you've got a senior player behind a winger who's younger, and
Garuccio's been injured half the season as well. Shamoon comes in.
Shamoon goes in there. You've got Imai, who's been next to Leonard for most of the season. You've got, as we said, you've got Thurgate. Okay, Thurgate's now 24, 25, but he's been around for 10 years, and he's next to Bozanovsky. So they've got and when we talk about these players, they're fucking good players as well. It's not like we're saying, oh, they've just thrown in a kid who's, we've had to just pull someone off the street. These are good young players. Botic's quality. Bozanovsky's been quality. Abel Wallati's been quality. Shamoon's done well when he's come in. And that's down to not only the recruitment of the club, but the coaching in the club as well. And as you say, their triggers and to when they go to press, when they don't press, all that, they've obviously worked very hard at on the training field because they get it right and they get it right often, and there's no, it's not fluke that they finish third. It's because they've got a fucking good squad that's well drilled in the way they play.
Yeah. I'm just thinking, I mentioned something in Com a couple of weeks ago about Reece Bozanovsky. I don't know if this is well known, but his granddad, Captain Malta, Willie Vassallo. Yeah, and was a legend at Green Gully, the Maltese MPL club down there in Victoria.
Maltese,
so there's a bit of pedigree there, and he's one that's flying under the radar.
Yeah,
I reckon in terms of he's a quality player.
He reminds me, and not in the way they play, but the plaudits that he doesn't really get with Valadon next to Teague, because he's got Angus Thurgate next to him, who everyone's seeing how much work he does, and he's box to box, and he gets forward, he's creating things. He's scored in the first and last game of the season. Everyone's talking about Angus Thurgate and how good he is, but the shine sort of gets taken off Bozanovsky, and I think that's the same with Valadon. But they're actually good because they're a good pair, and they work well together. And I don't think they're as good if those two aren't working together the way they are. You take one of them out of the mix, and I think it's a little, the dynamic changes slightly and things could be completely different. And you're right. I don't think he does get the plaudits that he should, simply because all eyes have been drawn to Thurgate.
All right. Have we enough said on that one?
Suppose.
Do you want to have a rant about Tarneit or anything, or do you need to get anything off your chest? Or
I'd never been, so
anything about Adelaide? Should we say a farewell to Carl, our nuclear reactor?
Yeah. We're going to miss him because of his reactions on the sideline and some of his full-time antics. Loveliest man ever off the field. Love to watch the volcano explode on the sideline. For mine, he's done a really good job over his 5 years at Adelaide. Obviously, was involved in the junior setup with South Australian football, so he knew a lot of the kids coming through, utilised them, brought them through on what we understand wasn't the biggest budget. Wanted probably a few more players every year, but couldn't quite get it. And when did sell players overseas, wasn't allowed to use most of that money, from what we understand, to go back into the market. But I think he's done a great job. He's kept them in what was finals, was 4 out of 5 years. Brought young players through and sold them off overseas time and time again. Saw him get the best out of Archie Goodwin as well, which we all were waiting to see happen because we knew it was there. It's just who could do it. And I think he's been great. And, hopefully we'll still see him around in A-League football because he's, as I said, a wonderful bloke, but also a top coach by the looks of it.
Yeah. Well, he hasn't gone and joined Arnie in Iraq as assistant coach. Not yet.
No.
Like Rob Stanton has already landed on his feet there. And Spider's going as well.
Oh, I saw this morning
I didn't see that.
Night. Spider's his goalkeeper coach.
Okay. Fantastic. All right. Interesting. Very good. A lot of people saying amazing first Aussie coach. And this is an incredible story for an Aussie coach. And he is obviously the first Aussie coach to coach Iraq. But Bernd Stanger went there under Saddam Hussein when he was still the main man, the former Perth Glory coach after Perth Glory as well. Went and did the Iraq business. And he was Bernd actually brought through a number of young coaches. And remember that Iraq had that really good spell, like at Olympics. Did they make the Olympic semi-finals in Sydney or something?
Is that when Ali
or a
Abbas
final?
was playing for him?
Don't know.
That's when
that would have been a bit earlier, surely.
Was it?
Yeah, maybe.
I remember. Yeah, it must have been earlier with Ali.
It was sort of mid-late 90s, heading through to... Because Iraq had a great run at Olympic-age football, anyway. I remember. Anyway, Bernd was there. Arnie's walking in the great footsteps of Bernd Stanger. Shout out Bernd, who probably doesn't listen to the podcast. He's one you could trust, certainly wouldn't tell anyone if he was. So Bernd, if you are listening, respect. Okay, that's enough for that. Quick word then, Isaias and Javi Lopez as well. I reiterate everything Macca said about Carl. It was always a pleasure to work with him. I never spoke two words to Isaias or Javi Lopez, but I rated them very highly on the football pitch. I didn't see perhaps the best years of either in Australia because I only arrived back for the 2021-22 season. But what I did see over those first three seasons as well, making semi-finals football, was that they're quality footballers and brought a lot to that team as well. They will be missed, no doubt. Yeah. We saw they were missed because they didn't play much this year, and we saw what happened. Who the fuck am I? I've come up with a little A-League off-air special here. There will be no shatter stat this week because I didn't have the heart to tell poor old Stato Andy Howe that we were back and that he needed to get back to work. You can always check out Stato on his X account where he told us that Adelaide are the first team ever to qualify for the finals, conceding over 2 goals a game in the regular season, and that Sydney are the first team ever to miss out on finals, scoring more than 2 goals a game as well. So that's where you want to be for your stats. Who the fuck am I? In a career that spanned 12 A-League seasons and a brief spell overseas, I played over 200 times in the Australian and New Zealand top flight. I played my first 6 years for my home state team, winning 2 championships before averaging a move every year for the next 6 as I searched to rediscover my early success. I even got caught illegally trying to reignite the flame in a Sydney nightclub. I ended my career back home with an NPL title, and I also played for the Socceroos. That's enough, I think, for this one. So who the fuck am I? Started well, very talented youngster, and then probably a little bit off the rails.
I think I know who it is.
All right, good.
I'll tell you what.
If you, like Macca, think you know who it is, good for you. Don't tell anyone.
There's no prizes either, by the way, so don't fucking bother.
There's no prizes. We still haven't managed to get that shit sorted out. Okay, the second elimination final, Macca.
Yep.
Western Sydney. With a disappointing performance from then. Yeah. Western Sydney versus Melbourne victory. Casey Boss continuing his goal-scoring form. Zach Sapsford getting back to he scored a couple of weeks ago, didn't he, to break a goal-scoring drought, but he was back amongst it. And then Zizou Mashash with what turned out to be the winner. Did Western Sydney Wanderers choke this, Macca? Because I think we've seen so much inconsistency from Melbourne victory this season. If you really took it to them, if you put them under pressure, they almost invariably cracked. And this game they didn't.
Well, this game started to take on the same path as the last time these two met, where the last time they met, victory for 30, 35 minutes looked like they were fucking Real Madrid when Real Madrid are good. They controlled the game for the first 20 minutes in this. They scored to go ahead. And then all of a sudden, about the 20th minute, Western Sydney started to get the first time in the game some possession, a little bit more better field position. And I think just as Simon and I were saying it in commentary, that you just feel there's a little bit of a turn happening here. Bang, they went and scored their goal. And you went, here we go. Victory generally are slower in the second half, and Western Sydney Wanderers come home with a wet sail. And I think Zinedine Mashash's goal it just killed that momentum. And I got into at halftime, I got into the lift to go downstairs, and there was some Western Sydney people in there with me, and I said, 2-1, same as at halftime, same score as last time when you played them. And I said, do you think you'll run over them in the second half? And it was, look, we hope so, blah, blah. But the general gist was we think we're stronger going forward in the second half. But I thought about that comment. I thought, but the last time they played, it was 2-0 to victory, and it was Wanderers that scored just before half-time. So that momentum then was like, we're back into it, we're back into it. Whereas this time it went to 1-1, they felt like they were getting into it, and then Daniel Arzani, who was the game, he was a game breaker, the difference in this game, just rinsed a few plays, put the ball in the box, and it fell to Mashash. That deflated Western Sydney because they were like, we're back. The crowd was getting loud, and then all of a sudden it just went, and you felt the whole atmosphere just dropped out of the stadium, and the crowd just went quiet for a little bit, and you felt this different kind of atmosphere than the last time because we're coming. This time it was, we were coming, and now we're back behind again. And the second half, they just could not get it together. You got to give credit to Victory, the way they defended. I mentioned Jordi Valadon early, and it's the reason he popped into my head is because, he was everywhere defensively. And it's easy when the game's going on to get tired to jog out to press someone when the ball's out near the sideline. He wasn't jogging anywhere. He was sprinting his ass off to close the space down so people had to face backwards. And then he was getting support from the other side as well. That energy and that desperation and that desire to do things quickly and properly was a difference. And Wanderers just couldn't find the passes to get together. They were under pressure when they were forcing passes. They were overhitting things, and they just couldn't find their rhythm, their mojo. And fair credit to Melbourne Victory, they were the better team on the night. And Daniel Arzani had two key moments. He had a few other good moments, but he had two key moments. And he got the assist for the first one. Casey Boss was lucky with his touch, to be fair. When it came down, hit his knee. I left that alone in comms. But they got so much joy, particularly in the first half, down that left-hand side, Victory. Gabriel Cleur was coming narrow or getting caught high, and there was space in there, and that's where the first goal came from. Second goal was Daniel Arzani, just 1v1, just goes, whoop, I'm going on the outside. Well, it was actually 2v1 because they came out, but he just went, no, I'm going around the outside with pace and strength. And got the ball in the box, and they were good for it, Victory.
Yeah, I thought Gabriel Cleur was an interesting one. It certainly wasn't one of his better games, and he was present going forward. But I think he's been really good this season.
100%. Yeah, he has been.
And here he just wasn't there, or he was exploited, or somehow they sucked him in, and
that first goal
just took advantage of that.
Yeah, Casey Boss's first goal, it almost played out in slow motion because in the comms we were right behind Daniel Arzani, and I just remember seeing it like almost in slow motion, just that gap getting wider and wider, and you were like, oh my God, he's just going to play it through there, and you're thinking, where the fuck he is going? Someone fill that hole. And then it was too late. It was a good ball in, but it was the most obvious ball. You could see it a mile off. Good run from Casey. But it was like, where are you going? Why is that space been allowed to open up there? It was just crazy. And it's sort of in my head, I was like, where are you going? Where are you going? What are you doing? Oh, too late. And they just seem to get...
The second one, in the
more
second
space
one,
that side.
Arzani, exactly. And in the second one, when Arzani, to me, it looked like the ball was bouncing around, bouncing off defenders. It was lucky. And then you see the replay, and I don't think a defender touches that ball the whole time.
No.
It was quality, close control, the little double contacts and all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And then to pick out Teague, who had to stretch or whatever, falls to Mashash. Did he get a double nutmeg on the goal as well, Mashash?
I mean,
talk
it was
about...
definitely one.
It might have been a double nutmeg, I reckon.
You reckon?
Which is fucking lucky.
But it was funny because Daniel Arzani was just floating, from right to mid to centre mid to out to the left, and then when Boss had come up, he'd go back inside, and then he'd sometimes be on the right. But he stood, I reckon, for about 45 seconds on the sideline with his arms in the air, going, "Just give me the fucking ball." And I know he does that quite a lot, but he was like standing there right out wide as he can, trying to isolate a defender. And they finally got the ball to him, and you're straight away thinking, "Uh-oh, he's caused problems doing this before." And I remember the last time he squared up Bojader Krayev and just turned him, and you thought, well, Western Sydney have learnt their lesson here because someone went out to help Klur, but he just went, well, I'm not going inside, I'm going on the outside, so it's 1v1, and he just dominated him. But I think Milanovic had 2 shots in the second half or in the whole game from a tight angle that was really not going to trouble Jack Duncan. They just really couldn't. They were just firing blanks, really, weren't they?
Exactly. They're not a side that dominates a game, that controls the pace of the game with possession and everything. I think, was it in your tactician last week, where you had, and it was the same with Western Sydney of past seasons as well, but there's no density in the middle of the park. There's always a 40-metre hole in the middle of the park where they've got a winger on this side, they're stretching the game, and they're stretching it that way. They're stretching it from front to back. They're stretching it left to right. But there's nobody in the middle. Priestman must run about 45 Ks in a game to cover every other fucker in that middle of the park.
Yeah.
But you can't hope to control a football match, or at least not manage it that way. You can try and manage it your Wellington Phoenix way without ever seeing the ball.
Yeah.
But if you're doing it that way, you've got to hit on the counter-attack. You've got to be able to create danger when you transition, which is what they want. But you can't control a game. And Victory have not been great at controlling games this year. This is the point. Mm-hmm. And Western Sydney didn't have answers to that.
Yeah. I look at that and think, when you talk about that analogy about all the players around the outside, and I remember years ago, Graham Arnold said when we were analysing a team, he said, look, it looks like a cricket pitch. He said, you got all the players around the big circle around trying to stop a 4, and you've got one or two players in the middle overloaded by the opposition midfield. So you can't control the game that way. And that's exactly what happened quite a lot. Priestman would sort of try to get in there, but he'd be on his own. But everyone else seemed to, Brillante would drop out, and then everyone else would seem to run away from the play. And you're right. Controlling the game is very difficult in that position, especially when Victory just went, well, okay, the last 15, 20 minutes in particular, they went, well, we'll sit in the block, break us down. All right, no problems. Juan Mata had one very good chance, didn't he? He hasn't played many minutes. I think he's played 75 minutes this back half of the season, but that was a chance where you expect to target, at least force a save, and it just didn't get it at all. But it was a great run. Look, we talked about how the other teams have gone. Western Sydney, they're out now, but got to give credit to Stadge. He's 12 games undefeated. He's got the crowds seem to be buying back into the way that he is. He's from that area himself. I believe that he's potentially...
Has he signed a new deal?
I don't think... Well, I think it might be at the last moments of it, but it's been held off for quite a while. I think he's deserved one with what he's done, definitely. So, yeah, look, all in all, they've made finals for the second time in 10 years. And surely that was their KPI this year, was we must make finals. Well, they made finals. They made a pretty good fist of it. And there was a little bit of, let's say, a little bit of angst at the full-time whistle as well. That went on for fucking ages, by the way.
Oh, really? The Dillis Stadge?
Dillis, yeah, they got separated, then they walked away off camera, still yelling at each other. Then Stadge was yelling at one of the other Melbourne Victory staff. Then someone else came over and was yelling at the Melbourne Victory staff. Then the Melbourne Victory staff were yelling. And apparently it all stems back to, I've been told from numerous sources, that the last time they played and Wanderers did win that game 4-2, Dilla walked off without shaking hands of the Western Sydney Wanderers coaching staff. So that pissed Stadge off. And I understand that he basically said, oh, you're all right to shake hands when you win, but not when you lose. Expletive.
Okay. That's interesting, because I did think that Dillis was making a real point of going around and shaking every fucker's hand as well.
Yeah, so maybe
when I was watching it at home. So maybe, interesting. Okay. Yeah. Well, shall we have a quick look ahead, or shall we just fucking stop there? We said it was going to be short.
Let's have a quick look ahead. I got to have breakfast. Friday night for me. Yeah,
exactly. We'll pass.
Which is
Western United, Melbourne City.
Oof. Okay. Good.
First leg.
Yep.
What's the? I haven't even looked the head-to-head between. City won recently against Western United. Very recently, I think. Let's have a quick look.
Very recently, did you say? Not sure about that.
I thought so. No, completely wrong. Again.
Melbourne City, they won
Farken.
2-0 on the 7th of January. And they won one.
Okay,
Oof, they won both of them. 1-0 in November and
City
2-0
won
in
both
January.
of them. Harry Politidis and Matseo in January. And what was the 1-0?
1-0 was in November.
Round 3, that must be Andrew Naboo territory. It is.
Fuck.
Andy Naboo. Is that the game he did his knee?
He didn't make far into the season,
Naboo,
did he?
54th minute, might be. Marco Tilio, 40th minute. That's the game when they both got injured. Tilio did his hammy, tore it off, and Naboo did his knee.
Well.
Okay. Interesting.
So, are we going to make predict? Oh, we've got 2 weeks.
We already know who wins.
Well, do we? Do we? Are we? We're just going to come back after the next 2 games, aren't we? We're not going to do one next week.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll
you reckon?
We'll sum up both games in one. Yeah, is that right?
Okay, perfect. Yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so that means you've got to do a double preview, a general preview then of over 2 legs.
Okay. I'll tell you right now what's going to happen. City will beat Western United against all your fucking what you think. And Auckland will beat Victory, and Auckland will win the grand final with a sellout crowd in New Zealand, and they'll stick it right up the Phoenix.
With extra seating.
Exactly.
Well, they've been sticking it up the Phoenix all season, haven't they? But they're also going to stick it up Australia.
Yeah.
As well. Yeah. But they are the best team. They are the best team. They're the strongest team. I can't see anyone, unless it's real underdog, backs to the wall stuff. Auckland, congratulations. We'll come back in a couple of weeks' time before the grand final. We'll keep.
It's all happened. Yeah, fuck it. That's what's happening, guys.
We are going to come back post. We've got to come back for one more at least post season.
Don't Don't commit.
to do the wrap up and the A-League off air.
Under commit, over deliver. Come on.
Yes, true. Okay, especially considering. And shall I
Because I know
reveal
full
my
well when the fucking season finishes, you'll be like, "Fuck that, I'm off. I'm out of here."
Well, I'm off. Well, now I'm off before the end of the fucking season, as well.
Yeah.
But
what a fucking prick.
That's a little. Should we share that?
Yeah. Fucking, I'd be sharing it with everyone. Nah, it's not A-League. Fuck it, it's not A-League.
No, fuck it, it's not A-League. But I'll be at a different football match. Very kindly invited by former employers.
Current. Are they still
to
current?
go and current, yeah. But my former, I'm not there anymore. But they haven't forgotten.
That's very nice of them.
So I will be in Munich on the 31st of May for hopefully a big drunken party. Yeah, which is good. But I will obviously be checking in.
When you spend abroad.
Fucking ads.
What's that?
I was trying to give you, just hold up, get through this ad, and then I was trying to give you some background music. Oh, you dropped it. This will be Robbie, 6 beers down, cheering for his beloved PSG.
Exactly.
Anyway,
Still can't hear
fucking hell. Got a ticket to
Anyway.
the Champions League final.
Got a ticket to the final.
Didn't even invite me to come along.
So I did think about who I could invite, but then I thought, fuck it, this is all about me.
I love it. I fucking love it. Righto.
And so I'm going to do this for myself. So there we go. So we will try and get one last, perhaps, A-League off air out before the official end. But we will undercommit
the Johnny
and
Fun
over-deliver.
tour is going to keep coming back, doesn't it?
Exactly, yeah. We might even be back next week, Mackie. You don't know.
Of reason. Right, on that note, fuck, let's get out. I'm starving.
Yeah. All right, well played. And we'll be back. Ciao.
See ya.